Hello and welcome, beloved, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into living life on your own terms. We really want to thank every single person that supports us through our Patreon and our PayPal accounts. Appreciate love each and every one of you. You've really enabled us, to deliver the news of what's happening across Africa in relation to the great awakening that is underfoot. So we don't cover every story, but we do cover the stories that show us the patterns and the indicators of what the New World Order agenda is, not only in Africa, but across the Black nation. And there's some amazing news to be reported where, Belgium's Antwerp, which is like their coastal town, the city has actually removed the statue of King Leopold II after it was daubed with paint by anti-racism protesters. And we've seen, the anti-racism protesters have caught the imagination of the young people across the world, whether you want to say it's an orchestrated thing, it's an organized thing, or it's just people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We are definitely seeing something that is quite unprecedented. How long it will last will really depend on many, many factors, and I guess that's when we'll know the outcome. So what happened is when his famous statue that hung on the port of Belgium it was muddied with like red paint and black paint and everything. So they took it down for repairs, but it has been revealed that they probably will not be bringing it back. And his statue, the statue of King Leopold II, has actually been a target of activists, because of his record of brutal colonial rule in the Belgian Congo, and what happened is, I don't know, have you ever seen those chocolate hands? I don't know if you've ever seen them, and they were, famous, the Belgian chocolate hands or the little feet. Those were actually images of the black hands they cut off. And I didn't even know this until I was eating them one day and I was told, and I was like, these people are so wicked. He amputated so many people in the Congo. He was a brutal ruler. He ran it like his personal estate, robbed it blind, literally. And it's been a long held controversy, and in fact I think last year the United Nations actually released a statement against Belgium, calling on the country to deal with their colonial past, saying that they hadn't dealt with their colonial past. And they in fact recently opened, I think it was either mid last year, they opened the Africa Museum, which just showed all the things that King Leopold II had plundered from Africa. This is the dark and twisted things that many are fighting for, whether they know it or not. And the fact that, as I said it in a previous show, because we're seeing so many of these altars falling, I'm like, wait, what? Because these are their altars, fam. These are their ancestral altars. So when they tell you, ancestral worship is wicked, I don't know what, and then they have King Leopold hanging in their Belgium, in Antwerp, which is also like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling it was one of the big cities for diamonds, but I'm not sure. But, these are their ancestors, and that spirit lingers and continues to give them that dominion. That's why, and having him there, having celebrations in his name, continues to perpetuate the domination that he had over our people, and the wickedness and the brutality. Like, that spirit lingers and enters more people and perpetuates itself. So the fact that the spirit of our ancestors and the spirit of the Most High is bringing down so many of these altars in such an unprecedented way. This is one of the things I was saying. We may think, an unlearned eye may look at this situation and say that, this is just a waste of time. People are going and they're protesting on the streets, blah, blah, blah. But the spiritually what is happening with the fall of these ancestral pillars. I mean, we saw Cecil Rhodes is now, they want to bring him down. They brought this other Edward something, who had also transported like so many African Americans, over 80,000 African Americans from Africa to the Americas. His bronze statue was brought down and thrown in the river in Bristol. And when you see this happening systematically, Don't think that the globalists are in as full control as we think. It is a massive game that is being played out. This is we're in stoppage time right now, and you can put your spiritual energies towards the liberation of our people by praying, by declaring, by doing many different things. I think that's what I'll start talking about on the Dr. Mumbi show. But until next time, tuko pamoja.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
And welcome to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I pray you're well in all your ways and that you are living your best life. Thanks to every single person that has subscribed to the channel. Thanks to everyone that supports us through our PayPal and our Patreon accounts. Thanks to Alfred Sims. You sent me some money for the emergency fund in Zimbabwe. I'm sent you a receipt. I don't know if you got it in the mail yet, but thank you so much for supporting our brothers and sisters in Zimbabwe. You can go and find, there's an interview I did with the ZANU-PF head for the UK and Europe, and I have all the details if you want to support, the relief fund for the cyclone and what's been going on there. And there will also be a reconstruction effort. So if you have skills or talents as a, construction worker, mason, architect, and all kinds of contractors, etc., and you'd want to volunteer some of your time in Southern Africa, that is something that is definitely in the works and that you could be a part of. But there's a lot that's been happening across the continent, and one of the biggest things is that we're seeing a lot of people, a lot of governments apologizing for what they did, and no money yet. But the apologies are coming in hard and fast. We have seen some reparations happening in Australia. They actually had this, the Aboriginals won a case that opens up, billions in compensation for their political and spiritual loss. We also saw here in the UK, I'm still in London, where the Windrush generation, there's a fund that's been opened for them, for the ones that were forcibly deported, denied entrance back into the UK, even though they'd been living here for a long time. But one of the things is that it also exposes a lot of what's been going on. And recently, Belgium actually came out and apologized for kidnapping children from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I was like, you guys kidnap children? I mean, so sometimes these apologies actually expose you, open your eyes to some of the, terrible atrocities that were committed. So basically what happened is that, the Belgian Prime Minister, Charles Michel, he was set to apologize on behalf of the nation of Belgium for the kidnapping of mixed race children at the end of the colonial era. So what happened is at the end of the colonial era, when Belgium was getting ready to leave the Democratic Republic of Congo, all the children that were métis, as they called it, or were mixed race, were torn from their mothers and taken back to Belgium. And they ended up living these terrible, terrible lives where they ended up being a lot of them were brought up by the Catholic Church. We've been seeing the allegations that have been coming against the Catholic Church and what is being said about some of the crimes they've committed against children. Others were taken in by different charity organizations, and so they grew up motherless and fatherless. And so, for the very first time, the Belgian Prime Minister has actually come out and apologized to this, to this generation, because now a lot of them are adults, and has publicly apologized for stripping them from their mother's arms, and for not even allowing. Because what happened is when they came to Belgium, a lot of them couldn't even locate their fathers because a lot of the men refused to have paternity tests. So that's how they ended up, growing up in different homes and growing up, in different, in the under the orphanage umbrella of like the Catholic Church and stuff. It's because a lot of these fathers who had impregnated African women in the in Congo, when they came back, they didn't want to, they didn't want that to taint their names. And so these children grew up ostracized. There's a lot of colorism, racism that goes on in Belgium. So they've always been discriminated against. So it's an absolutely huge thing that Belgium, has come out and apologized to them. Now, a lot of people who heard this news were saying, well, when are they going to apologize for the 10 million people that were killed? The 10 million Africans, it could even be 15, it could even be 20 million Africans that were literally genocided out of the earth by King Leopold when he was in charge of, the Congo, when he had made it his private playground. What about that?